Hi guys, I'm your teacher, Miss Patrick, and I am literate in young adult books. There's a picture of me, one of my favorite books, The Fault in Our Stars, another favorite book of mine, The Absolute True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, and another favorite author and book of mine, Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. So, what does being literate in young adult literature really mean? Well, I know a lot about teen book suggestions. You can tell me you hate reading and you don't like books, and I will find you a book guaranteed by the end of this year that you like. I try and read every night before I go to bed. I try and read the teen choice list every summer. I go to seminars on teen literature during the school year. I frequent our library, and I ask Ms. Tolba, our librarian, questions about new books. She is very, very knowledgeable. I also research new books using Goodreads, which is a site that you can look up books. In other words, I practice this craft every day, probably because I'm a reading teacher and I want you guys to like reading too. Okay, so being literate. How do you read young adult literature? So, I always ask myself when I read young adult literature, which of my students would like this book? I really like young adult literature. It's easy for me to read, but it's also very interesting. Sometimes adult literature isn't as interesting, and it's not as lighthearted or maybe relatable. I don't annotate them, but I do sadly fold down pages for future reference. If I'm reading for pleasure, I usually don't annotate books. I try to write reviews on Goodreads if I really like the books, or even if I don't, to help me remember the books that I've read. I pay attention to trends in teen literature, such as dystopian series or vampire series, and I really wish I had more time. One of the books that I read this summer was called The Sky Inside, which was a dystopian literature about this very strange city that was kind of enclosed in a bubble, as you can see by the picture. And Martin is the main character, and I'm going to read you a little excerpt about Martin getting his birthday present. Okay, this is the big moment, Martin told himself. Remember to look excited. Then a large object struck him in the chest, knocking his chair to the ground. Something heavy proceeded to dance on him. He gave it a shove and got a look at it. A big golden-coated collie was attacking him in a frenzy of affection, licking his face and yelping ecstatically. Martin became aware of that sound of his own voice adding to the din. Stop doing that right now! The dog stopped whining and wriggling. Ears forward, it considered him. Then it flopped over onto its back and lay with its paws in the air, inviting him to rub its white tummy. The All Dog, read Cassie from the side of a big cardboard box. Large or small, sleek or fuzzy, all the dogs you ever wanted rolled into one. Contents, 1 All Dog, owner's manual, and reset chips. Runs on 2 Everlight long life rechargeable batteries. Batteries not included. The All Dog, Cassie continued reading, is the perfect pet and particularly good with children. Do not place your All Dog in a strong magnetic field. Some assembly required. This is just great, thought Martin. Here I am, 13 years old, and Mom and Dad give me a dog. A dog! Everybody knows dogs are little kids. So that's a little section, and the All Dog actually changes shape from dog to dog. Like, it'll go to a big Dalmatian, and then we'll go down to a Chihuahua. But the All Dog actually becomes like a friend and helps Martin escape his city, because something happens with his sister. So, very cool. If you want to read it, I have it in my library. So, what I do want to become more literate in is I want to become more literate in research. I am working on a doctorate in curriculum and instruction at Northern Illinois University. I need to complete my dissertation, which is basically a 100 to 300 page research project. I'm really not successful at fitting my research into my schedule. It's always the last thing that I have to do, and I never get it done. One goal I have is to set aside 2 hours on Sunday and an hour on Saturday each week for the next year to complete it. Another strategy I might use is reaching out to other doctorate students. I do annotate my research articles, but I think I need to keep them more organized because it's really hard for me to write in the form of a dissertation. It's a really different genre of writing, and it was something that I wasn't really taught in school. So that's one of my goals, to become more literate in research. Thank you for listening to my video. You can use and put your own face in this video, but I did not want to see my face because it's late at night and I'm very tired. Thank you guys. Looking forward to seeing your video.